out of the Senna. The Senna Tahm Kench is the most successful one, but still with it available, the bottom lane's choosing to go with the Nautilus, with the Senna combination. So we're going to have to see if LGD can change my mind. But at this point, going into the second ban phase, it looks like targeting the supports for top esports, because Photic and Syuyanjia, we didn't get to mention it, Munchables, but the bottom lane of top esports has been the direct weakness coming through at the start of spring.
And it's interesting as well when you see the Senna taken away. That's something that Photic had very much been resting on, especially on 10.1.
Yeah.
Now going to be falling back on the Varus. Fairly similar style of champion. Very safe. You can play from very far back. But now with the Leona and the Yuumi band away, you'd expect something like maybe a Braum for the side of top esports to go alongside this Varus and protecting them in the bottom lane.
Either that or you have the Tahm Kench to take that LGD didn't go for, right? So at this point for top esports, a reasonably safe bottom lane that you can assume will be set up here for LGD into the Lissandra that we've seen a little bit more of. So I like this from Yuuki. This has been a pick that people like Doomby, people like Scout have been playing recently.
It's going to be the Thresh rather than the Tahm or the Braum there. Still offers a lot of safety for the likes of the Varus, but also has a lot of engage, has a lot of ways to make plays happen, which you do need when you've got a jungler like Rek'Sai. Obviously, you can get stuff done with a flank, but he doesn't have so much hard engage up front.
The final pick coming through. What would you do if you're 369? The Aatrox has been the go-to tonight and across this patch. And Rek'Sai Aatrox, the ability to dive. Renekton, similar position there for 369. So the final lock-in for top esports.
Quinn's open, I'm just saying it. We've seen a couple of Quinn bans tonight. We'll see if Lies wants to go for that one. Like we said before, Cult and Lies both been a couple of the weaker sides of LGD, so maybe doesn't want to go for the style play of something like the Quinn. Might go for something tankier to play in the teamfight style.
Well, if you're talking teamfight style, Maokai has been played heavily by the side of E-Star, but the Mordekaiser, the ability to single out one player in a fight. And Photic is going to be buying the QSS. The tax is going to be across the board here for top esports.
We'll have to see how this one's going to pan out. And I mean, when you look at the composition from the side of top esports, you know, 369, he's got something he can carry on. Karsa has got his priority jungler. They literally first pick the Rek'Sai, and you've got Knight on the Zoe. This is very much what you wanted alongside a very safe bot lane from the likes of a Thresh and Varus.
Yeah, very much comfort here. Karsa on the Rek'Sai first pick. I mean, it's not often that you see a jungle first pick here when things like the Senna and Tahm are available. So, I don't know. Very different draft, and that's the variety in the LPL. We have so many different teams, but no team is really the same as another. I called top esports IG Light from last year, but they're very much their own style at the moment, especially with their new bottom lane, and especially with, I guess, in this draft, looking at, like, okay, the strength through side lanes once again.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how LGD are going to play this draft out as well, because when you look at the composition they've got, it's quite slow team fighting from them. They don't have that much damage, like, up front, I guess. They have quite a lot of consistent damage. When you've got the likes of a Mordekaiser, Lissandra, not exactly a burst mage, much more sustained fight damage. You can do a bit of burst on one target if you use that ultimate, but then suddenly you're in a little bit more danger yourself. And then alongside the Senna, a lot of upfront damage if you can be in the right position, but the consistent damage can be difficult to achieve. So we'll have to see how LGD are going to be able to turn these fights around.
Something I've talked about before with the side of LGD, you can go check it out on my stream, Mr. Munchables. The comps they've played in the past, they're really good at creating space. And here with Lies and Yuuki, their champions create space, create opportunities. And Kramer and Chance, they love that. So I'm looking at LGD and I'm saying, okay, a very different draft as to what we're used to seeing here in the LPL. Let's see if they can finally get online, finally get their first series win against top esports, no less.
LGD with their work cut out for them as we head on to Summoner's Rift for the third series of the day. And it has to be said, even if you are a fan of LGD, top esports certainly going to be a tough opponent for them. As top, you know, here's the thing about top, right? Well, I like that Kramer. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. Top esports are a little bit coin flippy. Top esports, when they're good, they're great. They look amazing. They look like a top of the table team. But when there's a lot of pressure onto Photic and Syuyanjia or Chocho, depending which support they bring to the table, quite often we see them struggling down towards that bottom side and Knight and 369 have had a tough time carrying them when they do start to fall behind.
Well, this is an opportunity for Kramer and Chance to win the lane, right? And the opportunity for the bottom lane of LGD, the strength of this team to punish that weakness. And while you are talking about top esports, you're right. They do feel coin flippy this season. And the change in jungle from XX to Karsa, we always thought would be an upgrade. We always thought that Karsa coming into this roster would make them top 3. I think you put in your rankings #1, correct?
First.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I put him in as number 4, number 5. But that's higher than I did, I think, in the previous season. And that's because Karsa coming through is a massive upgrade from XX. A lot of people still call him the best jungler in the LPL for a good reason, but they've changed their bottom lane. They've changed the weak side lane that they would constantly play towards. Yep. And Loken and Ben away from this team means that now you've got Photic and Syuyanjia limited experience on the LPL.
And you mentioned Karsa, obviously. He got the very early Rek'Sai lock-in as well. So much priority on that pick. We'll talk about that in a moment because Peanut's heading up towards the top side. We said he loves to gank top early on in the game. 369 in a whole bunch of trouble. He's got his flash available, but so is Flag and Dragon. There's first blood for Lies.
Just walks at him as well. That's going to be a big kill for Lies to shove this lane. And even though 369 has teleport, he's got to use it very early on.
And I love that play from Peanut to flash forwards instead of using the CC because it gets the red buff slow. It allows Lies to get the kill, and it basically says, hey, if you're going to flash for this, I'm going to flag and drag you. There's no way you can get out.
And when you have a volatile lane, and after all the talk tonight about top laners influencing bot lane, well, for LGD, that's the perfect start for them. The ability for Lies to hold this teleport after shoving out the wave, walk to lane, and look to help Peanut or the bottom lane.
Oop, Karsa wants it, but it's smited away by Peanut, and that is going to be a 3-buff start for the Korean jungler. And we said he's very much the focus for the squad. He's very much one of the biggest players as Knight gets a good chunk of damage down onto Yuuki.
Yeah.
So far, so good for Peanut.
Well, Karsa is now in the mid lane, though. Should be spotted out here as he crosses through, but we at the start of this game mentioned heavily that the junglers were the biggest influence here, and I failed to mention the bottom side. It was where both of them started to path up to top, to look for that first blood, and LGD being successful is the start of this game. Now 369 still getting pretty influential trades being a Renekton, but Lies with that early kill gold has a bit more pressure, and with no... Oh, there is a flash available for 369, excuse me.
Yeah, obviously didn't have to use the flash during that early engagement due to the fact that Peanut just flashed at him. It was like, okay, well, even if I use the flash, I'm still going to die anyway.
But I mean, Lies did. So the potential here for Karsa to look for a dive or do something in the top lane is there.
Peanut was expecting an invade there. Wanted to do something. Karsa waiting in the wings towards this top side of the map. 369 ready to go for a dive. His rage bar is fully charged right now as the minions will go under, and Lies knows what's up. No flash available. Teleport going to be channeled immediately by Yuuki, but Lies is already gone. Yuki's too late to the party.
Knight roamed up as well. Full control of the river here from top esports. Not a ward in sight, so for Lies, now that teleport advantage is down. That flash punished hard. Yuki going to be here to receive the lane for now.
Very nicely done from the side of top, setting it up perfectly. Obviously, Knight roams up as well in perfect time to be able to impact.
Look at what they're working here with a fasting Senna. Going to be a little bit tricky for Peanut.
And I want to talk history of these two teams in the current season. For anyone that's not been watching a lot of LPL just yet this season, 369, nice little trade there in the Renekton. LGD, they've had a rough start, has to be said. They're 0-3 in the league right now, losing to LNG, DMO, and E-Stars. Now, E-Stars, that's a very reasonable loss. E-Stars are at the top of the table currently. But when you look at LNG and you look at DMO, they've not had the strongest performances themselves. And it means that LGD, you have to look at them as one of the weaker teams in the entire league right now. And top on the other side of things, they've got to win against EDG, LNG, and they had a 2-0 against, or they got 2-0, sorry, by RNG.
Yeah, that's right, because RNG, you know, at this point, in a very different position. But on the topic of LGD, on paper, you think this is a top 10. Let's go back to rankings. You put top esports first. Where did you put LGD?
It's a long while ago. Not that high. Probably middle of the table.
Okay. I put LGD 9th. because I saw Peanut coming into this roster. I saw stability, and now I see a gank.
Yeah, I see a dead Lies right there in the top lane. Although he gets the shield, they don't go for the dive in the end. They didn't commit hard enough. Karsa could have tanked that tower, but he thought that the kill had gone down. Knight's gone in, but he's gone way too far. Peanut's there, and Knight has suicided right into the open arms of Peanut. Yuuki's coming in for the collapse as well. He flashes for the root, gets the ultimate down. Has to back away.
But Lies has the shove here. Peanut's up in the top lane. 369 either backs away, could fear getting dive, but has the flash available, so we'll be able to hit this wave. But LGD with a massive punish here in the early game.
And we talked about how both of these junglers love to focus on the top side. It's very much what we've seen. But look, Karsa could have finished this kill.
Yeah. Well,
one more auto there.
Walks away. 369 stops tanking. Karsa moves out of position, and then Knight's like, I have a proto belt.
Oh, the minion wave blocks it. I didn't see that.
But also good flag and drag there from Peanut. He read the position from the Zoe, and yeah, this is just super stock standard from Yuuki.
I'm surprised he went for the flash there, honestly. I feel like maybe could have got that one with the glacial path, but perhaps had used that earlier on in the play, just trying to get towards the top lane in time. Karsa, in the meantime, going to be starting off this Rift Herald for him and his team, and it's going to be traded over for the bottom side of the map. This Infernal Drake being taken by LGD.
Okay, see if some of the gold can come back here from Top Esports on Karsa's end. Has level 6, so if you want to make this dive happen again in the top side, definitely possible. Lies his flash again though, so Summoner available in comparison to last play. We've just seen top after top. Very surprised that we've seen absolutely nothing mid, but that's because the mid lane has been roaming top this whole game. While bot's just been, farming.
Yeah, a little bit of opportunity to get onto the plates here for Kramer and Chance, but this is one of the downsides of picking that Senna. You do really struggle to take towers, especially in the early stages of the game when you don't have the items to work with. It takes a long time to finish those plates. In the meantime, we're going to have a lot of pressure onto this top lane tower on the side of top. They've got the Rift Herald as well. This is going to be the tower going their way. Very nicely done.
I mean, this is big brain play from top. The bottom lane rotates first. The LGD keep Chance and Kramer the bottom lane themselves, but this Rift Herald's going to get another shove. Lies returns to the top side. And there's no real punish from LGD, so top claw back that goal that was mistakenly taken when Knight face planted. And Photic's like, okay.
Oh, he gets caught in the death realm, but then gets to lantern out, and he's going to 1v1 Lies inside the death realm. Photic, though, does flash away.
Timing.
Oh, that's a lot of ultimates used onto a single AD carry. There's no way to survive that.
That was close there from Photic. You got to give him a bit of credit for trying to take the 1v1, but great timing there from Yuuki to match the death realm timing himself. But
yeah, I love Lies, though. He's like, oh, you think you can play around the lantern? I don't think so, buddy. Just brings him to the death realm. And no way out.
Kramer's ult on top of that as well, just to secure the kill. Now, the upside for Top Esports is that 369 got a bit of solo time with the bottom lane turret. So a bit of extra gold here for the Renekton. And he's really not suffering after that laning phase. I mean, he started Carl, he's got a Tiamat, he's 30 CS up on his lane opponent as well.
Definitely a significant lead up towards the top side, 30 CS, as you say. And in the bottom side, it's a lot more difficult to define a gold lead. One thing I do want to mention about the bottom side is when you look at Photic, we saw earlier on when the runes came up, he is running Comet. It's quite often that if you run Comet on Varus, you will go for that lethality build. It's certainly not the priority build for most AD carry Varuses, though. Especially in the LPL, we usually see the on-hit Varus build. So interesting that they're going for that version of Varus instead.
So then let's talk a little bit about how this composition can run with the poke Varus build. You've got a Zoe, you've got a Varus, and the ability to poke out LGD is massive. And when you have someone like a Senna, when you have like a Mordekaiser in the space I talked about that was being created in draft, then Top Esports can literally just hit him right in the noggin.
And I have to wonder if this is Top Esports not having necessarily confidence in Photic, honestly, because I don't feel like the lethality Varus offers as much as on-hit Varus. I feel like there's a reason that's a much more popular pick. It's the team fight presence that it offers, and lethality certainly doesn't give you that same strength. It gives you more burst damage, but less DPS overall. But Photic, his successes so far on this roster for top have been when he can play super safe, super far back on things like the Senna. Lethality Varus, very similar to that Senna pick.
Yeah, very, very true, because Photic in the past couple of fights, we see a bit of the damage there. Past couple of games, just running face first in division, getting caught out randomly. For Photic, though, arguably easy to execute alongside Knight. So the pick potential massive here for top esports.
Yeah, we'll see what LGD are going to do with the advantage that they started off with. Let's bear in mind they were the ones in the lead to begin with. That gold lead has diminished to 0 at this stage, thanks to top esports getting the first tower of the game. LGD did get the first Drake, though. Next one spawning in a minute's time. And we'll see what top are going to do to answer. Obviously, Karsa, with this Rek'Sai first pick, so far, I'd say has had less of an impact on the game than what Peanut has. But when it comes to the objectives, the Rift Herald has been far more impactful than that first Drake.
Well, we're going to wait then, because 40 seconds till the Ocean Dragon means that we might actually get that fight coming out of here. Especially if Renekton's able to go back and pick up that first item. Still a massive CS lead. 369 has been clearing waves, roaming bot, clearing vision, and then rinse and repeating. And because he has teleport, he can push this wave, look for the level 11 with the extra Dominus, and get ready to fight around this dragon.
Certainly the story of win lane, win game has not been replicated here in this game against LGD. And that's surprising, especially considering the roster from LGD here. You look at Peanut, you look at Kramer, but the rest of the lanes, you kind of leave something to be desired. Kramer, so much damage coming out from Knight on the Zoe. And honestly, that is the power of the pick, obviously. Kramer will have the sustain on this Senna to be able to stay in the fight for now, but
Photic with no ult. Photic just burned ult and missed it completely. So now with the key ultimate down, even after that trade, things a little bit more even than you'd think. Kramer has sustained, so we begin the dragon.
We are getting to the point where 369 is really going to hit his stride, though. He's level 10 right now and has teleport available. They're not going to commit to this one, though. Allowing the dragon over to LGD. That's 2 in a row now. But when it comes to control, still feels like top will be able to contest when the next Rift Herald spawns. It's in just under a minute. I'm curious if LGD are going to go for this one as well, whether they're going to try and fight top for the next objective.
They have teleport on both mid and top as well, so the ability to contest is there, but Jungler's pretty much going for a vertical path here once again. See if Peanut wants to dive the Renekton. We said no.
He's just hit level 11. That's going to be massive. If they do go for a dive, having an extra level in his Dominus will be such a huge spike, but he decides, even with that in play, he's not going to go for this one. Doesn't know where Yuuki is and knows that Lissandra can go and add into that dive.
Yeah, Yuuki moving from the mid lane. I believe there is a ward on Raptor Pit, but still going to go for 369. One-on-one.
Yeah, Lai's going to be underneath the tower, stunned on up. This is beautiful play from 369. Dodges the obliterate. Yuki's here, had to use the teleport. Now it's going to be Yuuki tanking up the tower. And we'll finish off that kill. Very nicely played.
So a lot committed there, everything but Peanut's ult. What is going to be the play from top esports in response? There's a Rift Herald on Karsa, but mid-wave doesn't exist anymore, so that's not going to get punished from LGD.
And I think wise here from top not to go for the Herald play mid, just because everyone was still bot from LGD. Should they go for an over-aggressive Herald play mid, everyone could roam up, go for the pinch, and maybe you just get absolutely nothing out of your Herald. You still got a long time before you need to use that, so I think play it safe, go for a guaranteed objective.
Well, smart play begets smart players. My wise word of the day. There's a hook. Okay.
I've got to say, Photic is not impressing on this Varus so far. Struggling to land the Chains of Corruption. His Qs have been good, though.
He lands his Q, but nothing else.
Well, turns out they just wanted to wait for the reset to go for this Herald on the mid lane. Chance going to be here. He's going to look for the eye. No, backs away. Realizes that that would be a little over-aggressive. Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Karsa, though. Oh, it's onto Peanut, sorry. Good amount of damage down. They can't finish off the tower, though. Kramer gets 4 souls for his effort.
Oh, Knight is just trying to carry this. I mean, Photic might miss his ult, but Knight is not missing Trouble Bubbles or the Paddle Star with ulti combo. Level 12 on the Zoe with a Luden's Echo. And the poke that's coming through from top esports is really hitting its stride.
Now going underneath the tower, Chance getting chunked on out. They do have good wave clear, though, from the side of Lissandra, as both top laners just shove their waves underneath the tier 2s. both top and bottom lane. An unsuccessful attempt here from top. They use the Herald mid, but they don't manage to find that objective.
So now we're just back to square one. LGD surviving, and frankly, the healing coming through from the center as well is a nuisance for LGD to deal with. But what's left on the map? We've got a Dragon in 2 minutes. We've got Baron coming up in 2.5. And yeah, you're right. Win lane, win game was the identity of top esports last year, and it was so strongly so.
Yeah.
But this year so far, Karsa and Knight, that's not the duo you'll be talking about. But Yuuki might be caught out if Karsa can get in, but there's a jungler over there. By the way, Karsa is 2 levels behind of Peanut right now.
Yeah. And I do want to revisit something. Oh, I guess revisit? I haven't brought it up yet. LGD is one of the slowest teams in the league currently. When you look at their average game time, they do struggle to accelerate the game. And the fact that they have the lead right now, they're the ones dictating the pace, it's not surprising that we're in this very slow state of the game. I mean, they're not used to having a lead. Let's be brutally honest here. They've only got 1 game win on the board so far. So this is a new feeling for them. And I'm hoping that they'll find a way to transition this into something more.
Well, as long as they don't get caught out.
Yuuki manages to get away from the sleepy trouble bubble. I think just a little bit of damage went through at the worst possible moment.
Knight's still going to be pushing forward with this combination. Now, coming back to what you said, because look, we're at a complete lull once again. You know, the ping pong's in effect, as you stated the other game.
But it has to be stated, Dragon in 30 seconds. And top, they're the ones with mid-prio right now, so they might be able to go get vision control of that. Karsa gets robbed of a lantern.
They just look at each other, Peanut and Karsa face
Look at the difference in junglers right now. Peanut's level 11 to Karsa's level 9.
And he's got a Stone Plate and Cinderhog. There's 2 completed items, right?
There's a big, big difference when it comes to the sheer power behind each of them. And also the damage that Smite will do. If it does come down to a 50-50 for the Dragon, Peanut definitely has the advantage. And now, they're the ones with mid-prio. They're the ones that get to walk towards that objective first. Lai's going to be able to just pressure from the top side, but obviously won't go for a 1v4 just yet. Now Dragon going to be started off, 5,000 health remaining.
Feels like if top esports can't get the poke out.
Oh, Dawning Shadow across the team. Karsa gets out on the lantern, but he's still alive. The most important thing here is Peanut should be able to secure the objective. He's low as well. Karsa's going to go in for the steal here. No, Prey Seeker. And it's a shot from Photic, but it's not enough. 369 been brought into the death realm. Dominus popped, but Lies flashes over the wall.
Hook won't connect either, so for top esports, can't manage to find the steal. LGD 1 Dragon away from Soul. But to me, it feels like if top esports can't land their poke, if they can't get a core member down, then they can't really contest these objectives. And each and every fight, failing to find that crucial hit onto people like Kramer, Yuuki, or even Lies before we can get the Death Realm off. And top is slowly getting shut out here in this game 1.
Yeah, it's been a rough start for top. But when we... No, you go.
Oh, thank you.
After you, sir.
Oh, you're such a gentleman. I wanted to come back on what you're talking about with LGD. Because if we're honest with what LGD are right now, it's a mesh of different players from different times of the roster, right? Like Peanut's new, Chance and Colt are new, Lies has been on LGD for a while, Yuuki's been here for a darn while as well, and Kramer joined last year from a Freak of Freaks. And for me, LGD is this team that screams individual talent that's still trying to find the pieces that make this roster successful. Now, is it time that they need? I don't know. Through Chance and Colt, I think there's real potential. I might not have time, or maybe I do. People like Chance has shown that he is a good bottom laner for Kramer. But you know what? To me, Kahlua screams it more, but Syuyanjia, let's go.
Yeah, that's going to be a hook onto Chance. And that's going to be it.
But I want to see, I want to see more of Kahlua. I think Kahlua and Kramer are a fantastic bottom lane. Now, this game, Chance has been put in the driver's seat because of the fasting Senna, but LGD, I still don't know. This is a really good taste, though, if we get more of this.
Here we go. Karsa jumps onto the enemy team. There's a hook going straight down onto Chance as well. Cataclysm onto 369, but he jumps away. Peanut getting low, and in comes the Lissandra. Doesn't use the ult just yet. Aftershock going to be active. It's 369. Goes into the death realm with Lies, but I think Lies might be left out to dry by his team here.
Bubble.
Yuuki comes in, 369 obliterated. Dawning Shadow does a lot, but Kramer goes down. Karsa's on the back line. Now, reset of the fight. Syuyanjia trying to get out. Doesn't have Lantern available just yet for Karsa as Knight goes in. Knight finally joining the fight. Yuuki, the next target, finally drops his Glacial Prison, but he's going to be going down as well. Goes Golden, but it's not going to be enough. But oh, the arrow through two of them. Blasts Yuuki and hits Peanut as well. He's not long for this world, and it's a double for Photic.
It's the ace on their terms. It's the full team fight dictated by Top Esports. The poke finally lands. They start the engage. For anyone from LGD knows what's going on. And with those big 1-2 items from both Knight and Photic, the damage coming through bit by bit pierces LGD.
And I want to see, once we get into a replay of that, where Knight was at the start of that fight. I'm not sure if he just wasn't there or if I just didn't quite see his impact, but oh no, Knight is there right at the very start.
But you know what the biggest part about this is? Chance dies before Lies comes in. An immediate 5 versus 4. And even though the Lissandra really wants to take this on, the Death Realm's used on the Renekton again. Lies is 1v1ing the top laner, who's in a pretty decent position, and it takes so much to kill him. It was the bubble, yes, the bubble in the
goes
backline.
All the way to the, almost to Wolves, gets a bubble across, and it lands right onto Kramer. That was absolutely insane. And then look at this piercing arrow from Photic. He charges it onto Yuuki after the Zhonyas. Give it a minute. Okay, now he charges it, and look at this. Gets it through Yuuki, hits Peanut as well. That is just magnificent.
I mean, Knight was playing the aggressor for the rest of this fight as well, so good to see Photic and Knight really working that fight. And you're right, the key moment there, the bubble from Knight was absolutely amazing. There's a reason that Top Esports prioritized this Zoe pick, because it does magic in the hands of this mid laner.
So now we have a bit of a reset. LGD, they're the ones with 3 dragons so far. But it doesn't look like Top Esports want to give up a 4th. They're setting up vision. They're clearing away any semblance of control that LGD have. And it feels like just one fight. Suddenly LGD's posturing far more defensive.
Yeah, this time scared to push out through the mid lane. And the poke starting to come through. Is that deadly?
And no punish whatsoever. Knight didn't even take an auto attack back. There is a good amount of healing from Kramer on the Senna, but it's going to need a lot to be able to deal with the poke coming out from the likes of Knight.
LGD are just trying to push mid. They're going to burn the teleport to do so, but look at where Photic and Knight are. They're the 2 people you need to watch.
369 going to be here to try and clear away the wave. Does get rooted up by Kramer. Yuuki actually goes in with the Glacial Path. Dawning Shadow obliterates Photic. Karsa goes down as well. I was saying they're positioned defensively. They're going for the fight right now.
Photic caught out again. Rinse and repeat here in the first game. Top Esports AD carry. This has happened before.
And now on towards this dragon. This will be the soul coming out for LGD as well. Big pickup if they can finish the objective. Karsa's not here. You've got the man advantage. Surely you take the soul.
Yeah, Knight's just going to try and poke it out almost, but close as no cigar. LGD with a Cloud Soul at 25 minutes.
Phenomenal stuff, and this is not the way I expected this series to start off. The Dragon does go the way of LGD. The Soul goes their way as well. But take a look at the gold. We're still dead even on the map. And only 2 towers taken by either team.
The amount of back and forth already between Top and LGD. I think even though a lot of people will be criticizing Top in this first game so far, you have to look at LGD, and the decision-making looks a lot cleaner. It looks like Peanut's in charge a lot more. And due to this early game, Lies has a pretty big lead. He's got a Stinger and a Spectre's Cowl in his inventory, almost to his 3rd item.
Photic also going to be heading back to base shortly to pick up his lethality item there. He's got the 2 components. I'd imagine he's getting close to
Have a look down here.
Oh! So, Yuuki's Glacial Path there actually popped the Edge of Night that Photic had. Meaning that he could then get the Ring of Frost, he could then get the ultimate as well, that Frozen Prison. So actually really nice little play from Yuuki, being able to get rid of the Edge of Night, and it means that Photic completely vulnerable.
And that means that Photic loses his shutdown to the Lissandra. who was a bit behind in this mid lane due to the farm advantage from Knight. So LGD, you love to see it. I guess what do I even call it, the franchise player at this point? I mean, Yuuki is probably the most stable person in the LGD roster just due to his duration being in LGD at this point.
Yeah, so far so good here on the Lissandra pick as well. 369 has found himself in a 2v1 and he's going to slice and dice on out, but gets pulled back in. Chains of Corruption onto Chance, but they're not going to be able to do much with that ultimate. Now backing away once again. LGD pings on towards the Baron. They have the advantage. They have the soul in their favor. Knight going to be trying to find a pick, but again, it's just not going to be able to happen.
He's trying his heart out on this Zoe. And you love to see it. You love to see Knight literally trying to turn the favor of this fight. Now, 369 wasn't caught out there and still has his flash, which is good. Has the teleport available, but so does Lies. And right now, Lies in this side lane is pretty damn scary. And arguably, so is Yuuki at this point. So Top Esports going to spend a bit of time, or rather LGD, going to spend a bit of time pushing out those side waves while Top invest at mid grouping.
Yuuki's recalling right now, and I think he might be able to grab his Zhonya's, which is a massive spike for the likes of Lissandra going into the fights. Wasn't able to get it, actually just had to leave base immediately to make sure he was here for this mid lane play.
Kramer really susceptible to the damage coming through from Photic, though. That was 1Q, if I'm not mistaken. Photic searching, and so is Knight. Again, these two, just the core responsibility of getting them low before the fight starts.
And this is one of the difficulties of a poke-on, right? If you can't land that poke, it's very difficult to pull it off. But also, if you're against the likes of a Senna, the amount of sustain that this team has, it's incredibly difficult to get any of it to stick. I'd love to see a little bit more healing reduction coming on out. You do have the Executioners from Photic. That was the second item he picked up straight on after the Umbral Glaive. I'd love to see a Morellonomicon from Knight as well, but I don't think we're going to see it.
Yeah, people are going to criticize you for that. You can't say that word on cast, I told you.
I'm sorry. Well, I guess the counter-argument to the Morellonomicon...
oh, no.
Here we go, down the rabbit hole.
Do it. All right.
The counter-argument would be that if you're going to hit them with Zoe, you probably just want to one-shot them anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they can heal, because they're going to be dead.
Yeah, but also Morellonomicon, great for burst, as seen in the video.
Does have magic penetration.
That
Peanut.
No.
Peanut.
The Observer literally.
Hey-o.
And that was Stopwatch.
And this is the superstar Korean jungler that has joined LGD this year.
Oh, dear.
This is the man we're focusing on. To be fair, though, misclicks aside, this game he has looked incredible. 2-1-6 on this Jarvan. He's gone for the Cinderhulk build, and he's been an absolute brick wall for his team.
Maybe it wasn't
karsa on the other side, despite focusing on a first pick for this Rek'Sai, really hasn't had an impact in the game whatsoever.
And no other team is prioritizing first pick Rek'Sai, so it has to make you think what the thought process was behind it. Now, far be it from me to criticize, but at this point for Top Esports, nothing's really happening for them. They're looking for opportunities with LGD, but LGD are making this game go late with a good bubble, though. Top say no.
Yeah, there's not really any follow-up to that bubble, unfortunately.
Well, there is from Lies.
Lies is coming into the backside. He's got onto Knight as well. Goes Golden. There's a Chains of Corruption onto the whole team. 369 on a 1v4 right now is the rest of the squad trying to get over to him. Karsa has to keep himself alive here. Yuuki uses that Zhonya's. Now 369 backing away. Dawning Shadow onto everyone. Knight trying to dish out the damage, but he just doesn't have any follow-up here. Pulled on in, and now there's a hook onto Syuyanjia. He's going to be rooted as well. Everybody in the fight has a stopwatch, it seems, but they're running out of time after all. Syuyanjia goes down on the Thresh. Peanut getting that kill. There's a hook in the follow-up as Yuuki's teleported back into the fight once more, and Photic will fall. Another kill goes the way of Kramer. It's a double for him, and now into the mid lane.
It's just so good from LGD and so hard for Top Esports to win these fights. Knight is the only one left standing, and LGD to this top-level team are really giving it to them.
And well, this is not the result. How is it? I mean, I said it earlier today, you can't count any team out in the LPL. No matter what, you have to expect that there's upsets available. Nicely done by Peanut just to deny the blast cone. This is going to be the Elder Dragon. Karsa You've not had a great game so far. This is your moment to turn the tide. Knight going in to try and get whatever he can done. Denied, knocked up, and, well, that's going to be that now. Lies actually brought him into the Death Realm as well.
Just in case. But that's a counter towards your jungler. The Death Realm is an abusive tool, but really nice depth charge here from the side of Chance.
And do you know what? It doesn't matter what your organization is called. It doesn't matter what your score on the standings is right now. What matters is the goal lead in the game. What matters is the Elder Dragon and LGD. They don't care who they're against. They're going to go for a Game 1 win.
They've got themselves the Elder Dragon. Baron sitting there. That's next on the menu. But the way this game has been going, a fight through the mid lane seems to be on the cards. And Top Esports, I fail to see a way that they can deal with anyone from LGD.
Well, Top at 33 minutes is going to find themselves a tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. But, oh, if that had been cancelled by Peanut, that would have been really bad news.
He respects. Shows his sign of respect. But Baron time, and
I mean, with Elder Buff, there's just no contest, right? It would be absolutely ridiculous to try and contest that one for the side of Top. But they are going to be able to get a tier 2 for themselves in the bottom lane at least, so some semblance of an objective, but I don't really know what that's going to achieve for them when you consider that now with the Baron sieging up, we're going to see LGD in a really commanding position. We basically
have never seen this.
In the history of Dota.
We have never seen LGD really take command of the game so far in this split. The problem with LGD is that they will find maybe an early game lead through Peanut or through the top side or even through Yuuki, but it never goes anywhere. It's the shot calling that I've been questioning from LGD. Where does the game go from here? But LGD this game has been really commanding in their decision making.
And now onto the inhibitor as well. They're going to be able to grab this for sure. Now up towards the top side. They don't have a minion wave yet. Maybe they just try and end the game. This might be overzealous. The biggest weakness for LGD so far this season has been overstaying, trying to bite off more than they can chew.
Absolutely.
But this time, it doesn't feel like that's going to be the case. It doesn't feel like there's anything that Top can do about it. Here comes the Cataclysm onto Photic. Peanut with the stone plate keeps himself alive, and Yuuki uses that ultimate just to sustain in the fight. Chance now is going to be burnt on down, and Top just don't have the damage. Photic gets one onto Chance, but there's just nothing you can do. Knight has to flash onto the fountain, and this is going to be the game. This is going to be 1-0 for LGD against Top Esports and Peanut, the superior jungler.
A really, really calm win from LGD. And you just have to say, you know, poke composition from Top Esports didn't work. I'm not going to go into it, but for LGD, really calm shot calling, better decision making all around. We saw about 10, 15 minutes worth of ARAM there.
Yeah.
We just like, let's try and poke them out, and LGD are like, we can sustain this. And then push comes to shove, and LGD like that. So I think I'm impressed the fact that LGD had a game plan, and even if it was mid-ARAMing against Top Esports, they stuck to it.
Just look at the gold for the entire game. Pretty much 30 minutes of this was just about even. And you can see how little fighting there was. Knight has 30,000 damage. No one else even remotely close to that one, but it doesn't matter at the lack of fighting. It doesn't matter at the lack of kills because it was a slow and steady bleed out. LGD just take every single objective, they took every single Drake, and then they just slowly but surely walk it in.
Does feel like it was a bit of Knight versus the world as usual, right? And a lot of people will say that, but you got to give credit to the side of Top Esports that Knight couldn't really overcome the boundary that was LGD's composition. And this game, I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Top Esports not being able to execute, or Top Esports not being able to overcome?
I feel like a lot of it was down to the draft. I'm really unconvinced by the lethality Varus, especially. Right. I think that on-hit Varus is significantly better, in my opinion at least. But ultimately, it didn't feel like there was very much follow-up. It didn't feel like... I mean, I don't really understand the Rek'Sai first pick. Obviously, Karsa wanted to go for that one. He wanted to go for Sejuani last week, and that didn't really work out for him either. Feels like Karsa is kind of having a crisis of identity at the minute and doesn't really know which direction he wants to go.
You're not getting RNG Karsa from this. You're not getting RNG Karsa moving into top esports. And you said it really well at the start of Pick and Ban, I think the start of game, where you said top esports right now feel really coin flippy. And we don't want to discredit them before they go into the series. We don't want to discredit them going into game 2, nor do we want to talk, down to LGD. But this series, the expectations were a 2-0 because top esports on paper are still one of the best teams in the league. And Knight is still one of the best mid laners in the league. Karsa is one of the best junglers in the league. And they have an all-round okay team put together. So this game for me was a bit like, okay, what's actually happening? Because LGD expectations were quite low, but they raised the bar.
Do you know who raised the bar specifically? Lies in this one.
Yeah.
Because it was all about the top lane, especially towards the start of the game. We had Karsa and Peanut both focusing, ganking the top lane. But Lies consistently beating out against 369 in the 1v1, consistently just pulling the enemy top laner into the death realm as well, and just punishing him time and time again. 369 really struggled to have any impact in this game, aside from just catching sideways.
Yeah, after the pressure that was put up top, I mean, we flipped our heads a couple of times at the top lane with the dive going back and forth. Knight face palming into the side of Lies.